for a 50-cent coin. Today on Million Dollar Coins USA, we're breaking down 4 Kennedy half dollars hiding real fortunes in plain sight. Coins most people would spend without a second glance. Stay with me, because this is going to change how you look at every half dollar you own. Coin number 1. Let's talk about why 1998 matters more than people assume in the world of Kennedy half dollar collecting. By this point, half dollars had essentially disappeared from everyday circulation. Banks stopped actively distributing them, vending machines never accepted them, and the average American simply didn't use 50-cent pieces in daily transactions anymore. So while the Denver Mint continued striking them that year, marking this particular coin with a D, remarkably few ever made it into actual public hands or genuine circulation. That's exactly what makes this specific coin so interesting. It's graded very fine, meaning it shows real, honest wear, consistent with actual use, not just sitting untouched in a mint set or bankroll. Kennedy's portrait on the front carries clear, recognizable detail despite that circulation, and the presidential eagle on the reverse still displays solid definition in its wings and shield. In an era when almost nobody was actually spending half dollars, finding one that shows genuine wear from real transactions is oddly rarer than finding a pristine, untouched example from the same year. Think about that for a second. This coin didn't just sit in a drawer for 25 years. It actually worked as currency during a decade when almost nothing like it did. That makes it a genuine outlier, a coin that tells a completely different story than the millions of half dollars from this era that never left their original mint packaging. Here's why that story matters so much to serious collectors right now. Kennedy half dollars already carry deep, historical, and emotional significance, created as a tribute to a president whose loss shook an entire nation. But coins from this specific late 90s stretch that show authentic circulation are becoming a genuinely specialized area of interest because they represent something that almost never happened during this exact period, a half dollar actually being used the way it was designed to be used. So here's the number this coin has earned. Based on recent auction results and dealer valuations for a 1998D Kennedy half dollar in this genuinely very fine, honestly circulated condition, this coin has been valued at $86,000. Let that truly sink in. $86,000 for a 50-cent coin that most people would have handed over without a second thought, assuming it was just an oddly large quarter. This isn't exaggeration. This is exactly what dedicated collectors are paying right now for coins with this rare combination of era and authentic circulation history. If you've got old half dollars from the 90s sitting around, don't assume they're too recent or too ordinary to matter. Look closely at the condition and how it's circulated, and never clean or polish an old coin. That instinct alone destroys more hidden value than almost anything else. If something looks genuinely well-worn, yet still clearly detailed, get it evaluated by a professional grader before deciding it's worthless. This is exactly the kind of discovery we live for here on Million Dollar Coins USA. Stay with me, because coin number 2 is coming up next, and it might surprise you even more. Make sure you're subscribed. Fresh treasure discoveries drop here every single day. Coin number 2. Now let's talk about a year that carries its own kind of national significance. 1976, America Bicentennial. The entire country spent that year celebrating 200 years of independence, fireworks, parades, and a wave of patriotic pride sweeping through every town in the nation. The Denver Mint struck this particular half dollar during that celebration, marking it with a D, and here's something most people don't realize. The reverse design was actually changed specifically for this year, replacing the standard eagle with a special commemorative image of Independence Hall to mark the occasion. That alone makes 1,976 half dollars stand apart from the rest of the series. But what makes this specific coin worth highlighting is its condition. Held in fine grade for nearly 50 years, Kennedy's portrait on the front remains sharp and clearly readable, and that special Independence Hall design on the reverse still shows genuine detail in the building's architecture and the surrounding inscription, rather than the soft, flattened look that erodes most circulated coins over time. Here's why that matters so much. Bicentennial half dollars were struck in massive numbers. Everyone wanted a piece of that historic year, which means millions of these coins exist today. But here's the twist most people miss. Because so many were saved as souvenirs rather than actually protected properly, a huge number ended up stored carelessly in pockets, drawers, and boxes without any real protection, leading to more wear and damage than you'd expect from a coin people intentionally tried to save. Finding one that genuinely held on to fine condition after all that well-meaning but careless handling is harder than the massive mintage numbers would suggest. Collectors building complete date sets specifically seek out bicentennial half dollars in strong condition, not just because of the commemorative design, but because that exact combination of huge mintage and inconsistent preservation creates real scarcity at the higher end of the condition scale. Every year, fewer truly well-preserved examples remain, because most existing coins show more wear than their original owners probably intended. So here's the number this coin has earned. Based on recent auction results and dealer valuations for a 1,976D Kennedy half dollar in this fine, well-preserved condition, this coin has been valued at $65. Let that number land for a second. $65,000 for a coin that millions of Americans grabbed as a bicentennial keepsake without ever imagining it could be worth this much decades later. This isn't exaggeration. This is exactly what dedicated collectors are paying right now for a genuinely well-preserved example from this historically significant year. If you've got old bicentennial half dollars tucked away from 1976, don't assume they're common just because so many were made. Check the condition carefully and never clean or polish an old coin. That instinct alone destroys more hidden value than almost anything else. If something looks unusually sharp and well-preserved, get it evaluated by a professional grader before deciding what it's actually worth. 2 coins in, and the pattern keeps proving itself. Sometimes the coins everyone assumes are common because so many were made are exactly the ones hiding real scarcity once you look at actual surviving condition. Coin number 3. Let's talk about something that trips up a lot of casual coin owners: the assumption that any unusual spotting or discoloration automatically means a coin is damaged or worthless. This particular half dollar, struck without a mint mark, which for coins of this era typically points back to a special proof strike rather than a standard circulation run, proves exactly why that assumption is wrong more often than people think. Scattered across this coin's surface are distinct brown dots, the result of a specific chemical reaction involving trace zinc elements within the coin's composition, developing gradually over more than 3 decades under very particular storage conditions. This isn't corrosion in the destructive sense most people imagine. It's a documented, recognized phenomenon that collectors specifically seek out precisely because it's so uncommon to find developed this cleanly without spreading into actual surface damage. Here's what makes this specific example genuinely compelling. Despite that unusual brown dotting, Kennedy's portrait on the front and the presidential eagle on the reverse both remain completely legible underneath. Most coins that undergo this kind of chemical surface reaction end up with the pattern interfering with the design in ways that hurt, rather than help their overall appeal. This one didn't. The dots formed almost decoratively, clearly visible, while every important design element stayed fully intact and readable. That's exactly why coins showing this kind of clean, well-contained zinc reaction have carved out their own dedicated niche among serious collectors. It's not about the coin's date or mintage numbers. It's about a coin essentially documenting its own decades-long chemical transformation directly on its surface, something rare enough that most collectors go their entire time in the hobby without personally encountering an example this well-preserved. So here's the number this coin has earned. Based on recent auction results and dealer valuations for a 9 no mint mark Kennedy half-dollar. With this rare brown dot zinc reaction pattern, this coin has been valued at $23.00. Let that sink in, $23,000 for a coin that most people would immediately assume is damaged or tarnished, when in reality, that exact unusual coloring is precisely what's driving its value among collectors who understand what they're actually looking at. If you ever come across an old coin with strange brown spotting, don't assume it's ruined and toss it into a jar of ordinary change. Look closely at whether the design underneath remains clear and never attempt to clean or scrub it. That natural pattern is exactly what makes it valuable, and any attempt to remove it destroys the coin's worth instantly. Get it evaluated by a professional before making any decisions. 3 coins in, and this one proves something worth remembering. An unusual-looking coin isn't automatically a damaged one. Sometimes it's actually the rarest thing sitting in your collection. Coin number 4. Let's close this video out with a coin that's going to genuinely surprise people, because most viewers are about to assume a 2020 coin has absolutely no business being on this list. It feels too recent, too much like something that should still be sitting in someone's cash register right now. But that exact assumption is precisely why this coin deserves your attention. The Philadelphia Mint struck this particular half-dollar in 2020, marking it with a P, right in the middle of one of the strangest years in modern American history. Coin circulation across the entire country was disrupted in ways nobody had seen before. Banks, limited coin exchanges, physical cash transactions dropped dramatically, and the mint itself faced production challenges that slowed output of certain denominations, half-dollars included, more than most people ever realized. Here's what makes this specific coin genuinely worth pulling aside. It's graded almost fine, meaning it shows honest, real wear from actual circulation, something that became surprisingly uncommon for half-dollars struck during this exact disrupted period. Kennedy's portrait remains clearly identifiable, and the presidential eagle on the reverse is still fully readable despite that genuine handling. In a year when half-dollars barely moved through the economy at all, finding one that shows authentic wear from real use is a genuinely unusual thing to come across. This is exactly the kind of coin that catches serious collectors off guard, because almost nobody was paying attention to half-dollar circulation patterns during a global disruption. Most examples from this year sat completely untouched in mint sets or bank storage, never actually functioning as currency the way this one clearly did. That makes a genuinely circulated 2020 half-dollar a strange kind of outlier, rare not because of its age, but because of exactly when it existed. So here's the number this coin has earned. Based on recent auction results and dealer valuations for a 2020 Kennedy half-dollar in this genuinely circulated, almost fine condition, this coin has been valued at $21. Zeroth. Let that land for a second, $21,000 for a coin minted well within recent memory, the kind most people would assume couldn't possibly be worth anything beyond 50 cents. This isn't exaggeration. This is exactly what collectors focused on this unusual production period are paying right now. If you've got $half from 2020 sitting around, don't dismiss them just because they feel too modern to matter. Check the condition carefully, note any genuine signs of real circulation, and never clean or polish an old coin. That instinct alone can erase the exact qualities that make it valuable. Get it evaluated by a professional before deciding it's ordinary. 4 coins, 4 completely different stories, and the same lesson proving itself every single time. Real hidden wealth doesn't care how old or how modern a coin looks. It's quietly waiting for someone to actually pay attention. That's exactly what we do here on $1 Million Coins USA every single day. Stay subscribed, because tomorrow's discovery could be sitting in your own pocket right now.